Okay, I think we can start. So I will talk about the Roguerunner mode for Ghostrunner 2. And the few things that you have to know about me. I was studying in Wyższa Szkoła Europejska for 3 years, and I'm working in one more level now for over 2 years. That's my experience. I was working on Ghostrunner 2. I was making enemies, levels, and roguelike mode. And the most important, I have 2 precious cats. So yeah, now you know everything and we can start. For those of you who doesn't know what Ghostrunner 2 is, it's a first-person perspective hardcore slasher with one-hit, one-kill mechanic. So you have only 1 life point, but you kill all the enemies with only 1 slash. The Ghostrunner 2 was a great success. We were nominated to the Best Action Game in the last year, and we got pretty dope reviews. 9 out of 10 from IGN, 80. We hit 80% on Metacritic, but some of the reviewers didn't make it to do the roguelike mode review because they were too distracted by our roguelike. So what Roguerunner is? The Roguerunner is the additional mode, and the main difference between this and the campaign is that we have limited life points. So if you lose all of them, you will die and you will have to start all over again. While playing roguelike mode, you will be facing 2 types of encounters. The combat encounter, in which you have to kill all of the enemies, and the parkour encounter, when you have to get the final orb to finish it. And also we have some rewards for finishing that. You will get extra HP and the upgrades. I will talk about them later. And to beat the whole stage, you need to beat the final arena. It's the most difficult type of arena with a lot of paths, a lot of enemies. Yeah, and it's really hard to beat those. We made 4 stages for the main game, and later we made 5th stage with wingsuit mechanic in post-launch. And for finishing all of the stages, you will be rewarded with extra skin for swords and gloves, because player loves skins. Also, the whole roguelike progress is bound to our progress in the main game. So you unlocking the next stages by progressing in the main campaign, and also you can earn currency by playing roguelike and spend it in the hub to get your upgrades for the campaign. And I divided this presentation into 3 main parts: production, encounters, and upgrades, and later I will sum up everything really quick. So the Roguelike Strike team had 7 people, 2 programmers, 1 responsible for the whole roguelike structure, 1 responsible for upgrades, 1 level artist, 2 level designers, 1 gameplay designer, and 1 UI designer, and a lot of help with other teammates from one more level, the whole QA team, and others. And the idea for roguelike mode came up from the wave mode that we made in Ghostrunner 1, and it was a really simple mode when you had only 1 arena with wave of enemies, and for each after finishing each wave, you were rewarded with upgrades. And we found out that it gives us few possibilities to add this roguelike mode. It adds replayability after finishing the game. It challenges players, because roguelike is not mandatory, so we can push players even further with difficulty level. We can explore features from campaign. We have a game that is like 10, 20 hours long, and we have a lot of different features. So it's a great opportunity to have them there and improve hour-to-hour pacing, because you can always warm up before playing a new mission, or maybe you just finish your mission and you don't want to start another 1 hour mission. You just want to play a little bit of roguelike mode. And the main risk, we were making it in the most challenging moment of Ghostrunner 2 production, and all of us had already other features on our heads to do, and not only roguelike mode, so we had a lot to do. Yeah, that is the pretty first piece of paper that we have about roguelike mode in our GDD, and I marked in red these pieces that are not true right now, like procedurally generated geometry. We were thinking about it at the very beginning, but later we thought about not giving space for the changing arenas, in the not making geometry between the arenas. So we decide to move all the progress between the arenas to the roguelike map. And this is the prototype that took us like 2 days to make, and it like sold the idea, so we stick with it to the rest of the production. Also, the whole progress in roguelike mode is strictly bound to our progress in the main game. So we had to get all of our system with skills, with ultimates, and make sure that player won't have this skill until he will unlock it in the main game. So it was really challenging for our system programmer to deep into these systems and change the unlock conditions for different systems. Also, the whole roguelike mode, from the story perspective, is the simulation program that is made by Kira. You can see her here on the picture, and she's the hacker that made the simulation for us to let us practice. And she even made the AI that is comment our actions and talking with us during our roguelike run. And the whole narration fits even better than we expected, because we've added only dialogues at the very beginning of the stage and at the end of the stage, and a little bit somewhere in the encounters like shop or arcade room, and that was actually not enough. When I'm thinking about it now, we were afraid that the amount of dialogues will be not good for our gameplay, and when I'm thinking about it now, we could prototype it somehow. Maybe not even in the engine, but maybe take a video and put these dialogues somewhere there and check how this one-liners works with one whole run. Also, simple to understand doesn't mean easy to implement. We all knew that we want music in roguelike mode. We all knew it from the beginning that we want like the random track from the main game to play during each stage. And yeah, we like push this task at the very end of the production, and we find out that we need like the separate system for that. And yeah, it was very stressful, and we were afraid that we won't have music in the roguelike at the very end, and that would like break everything. So yeah, the short sum up: address every obvious task very early in the production, prototype to confirm assumptions, and stick to your fun factor. We had a lot of ideas for this roguelike mode, and we were just thinking to stick to our fun factor and to try to make this what we have now first, and if we decide differently, we won't finish it probably. So yeah, and now I will talk about encounters. Here is the level art and design pipeline. Everything starts from the idea, where when level artist, lead level artist and level designer brainstorming and thinking about what setting can we make for roguelike mode. And Cyber Void really helped us, because if it's simulation, it can be actually everything, so it helps a lot. When we have an idea, we prepare metrics and one block out of a single arena. It have to be like the really big arena. It was always final arena, like this. And then level artists take this block out, take those metrics, and trying to find something in the main campaign to use to make assets for roguelike mode, because we didn't make the new assets, we were just reusing everything that we could. We made this new arena with level art, like level artists make it to work with level art, and then groups all of the assets into the blocks. And at this point, the level artist's work on this setting is mostly done. Everything that will be, every level that will be make in this setting will be now made from with those blocks by level designer. Yeah, and enviro hazards, that's the most problematic assets that we have ahead in Ghostrunner, because you want people to look through them, but at the other point, on the other hand, when they look through them and there's another enviro hazard and another enviro hazard, you actually can't see anything. So think about the context. For us, the solution was very often to show these enviro hazards from different perspective, to give player this to know where this enviro hazard is in 3D space before he starts to facing it. And my favorite, level design, making and iterating parkour and arena encounters. And it was really fun to make it, because we unlocked a lot of design space for that. The narration completely supports our gameplay in roguelike mode. We don't have to think about the spots for playing dialogues or enviro storytelling things. You can mix enemies as never before, because in the main game we had zombie enemies and the gang enemies, so we couldn't mix them, but in roguelike it's possible, and we could make a new combat scenarios with that. Player choose type of the activity himself on the roguelike map, so you don't need to worry about the pacing. You can push difficulty level even further, and the last stages are really, really hard, and you need to find some really good upgrades to beat them, or be very experienced player. And we don't need to guide player between two sections. In first-person perspective, it's really hard to always make sure that player know where he should go, and we don't need to think about it, because we just spawn the player whatever we want on the arena. And we don't need to think about level art vision, because like level art is mostly done at this point. So some tips if you want to make arena like that by yourself. First, arena should be fun to play without enemies. You should feel that it's fun to move around the arena even when there is no enemies on it. And I think it's actually valid even for games that are not that movement oriented, because like it's the first thing that player feel in your game, the movement. So make sure it sells your vision well. And to let player discover the level. Here you can see the player that is playing this arena maybe for the first time. He's just walking straight using one grapple point. And here is the player that is more experienced and know that he can use grappling points to get to the end of the arena really fast and avoid some of the enemies. And if you play this arena for like 30, 30, 40 times, then you can find out that there is hidden launch pad under your feet. You will see it now. And you can really fast be in the other side of the arena and avoid the enemies by moving under the bridge and attacking them from the other side. So only few people will find it. It's not that everyone find those things, but for those who will find it, they will feel that the game have this gameplay depth. And when the whole geometry is done, we placing spawners in the different spots, and then we have to think about our enemies and the situations where they fit in our arena. When you know your enemies and your geometry, then you can find out the best placement for them on your arena. We had also the enemies that are very geometry oriented, like Wheel Monk. In some circumstances, there is a possibility that you won't be able to kill him unless there is a wall behind you. So we can just place him everywhere. Yeah, we had also this data asset for putting like different sets on enemy per one level. So we could easily just move to the data asset and make a lot of different possibilities, different scenarios for this one geometry. And for the movement mechanics, for the parkours, think about your movement mechanics boundaries. We have ledge boost in our game, and we have strafing in the air as a mechanic. We name those and classify those, and we don't. We make sure that player won't need them because they are not mandatory in our game, but we are using them to check if to make sure that if you know them, that will help you to move this arena in some more sufficient way. And also, sometimes it only needs to look different. Yeah, those two pictures, like those two parkours, have the same movement sequential to beat both of them, but the one on the right side have a lot of enviro hazards around, and it just looks more difficult. And you are playing with player's perspective in in FPP games. So if player feels that this is more difficult, it will be more difficult for him. Also, we had difficulty variants and modifiers in for parkour encounters too, like this one, when we had possibility to very easily add the modifier sub only with additional enviro hazards. Like we had different layers only with enviro hazards, and that was really cheap to make a lot of new, more difficult parkours because of that. And overall conclusion about making a lot of levels into just one day. Sometimes it's better to try to make a good level, not the best one. Like, it really opens minds when you have to do like 8 levels in one day, and you just can't like planning everything, and you just have to put all the ingredients on your map and start a little bit of jamming. And the results are were actually really good, and a lot of new ideas come up with that approach. So yeah, try this one. And at the very end, level art came to polish everything and backfixed every level art related bugs. And yeah, to sum up encounters, start with making sure that movement is fine in your game, even if it's not movement oriented. Like, just think about your movement. Leave things for player to discover, even if it will be like 10-20% of players. It will add this depth to your gameplay, and they can talk about this with other players. That just let the player discover your game over and over again. Think about level design context for each your enemy. If you are doing enemies, making enemies, maybe you could add some additional maps with different combat scenarios to pass to your level designers to make sure that they know how to use your enemies. Be aware of your movement mechanics, name and classify them. Know what you want player to know, what is mandatory and what is not. And you can make features more difficult and exciting only by making them look more difficult. It's the easiest one, but it really works. And now about upgrades. We had a lot of upgrades in the main game. We took all of them, and most of them, and changed them to fit the roguelike mode. They were mostly made by 3 people, like 1 programmer, 1 designer, and 1 QA. There were more QAs, but 1 was oriented on upgrades. So we had those circle, and it sometimes needed like to pass this upgrade between those teams like 3 times, sometimes 4 or 5 times before the upgrade was ready. The first thing that we've added to roguelike mode, the first change, was the upgrades rarity. So upgrades have different rarity and depends of the stage and type of encounters, because more difficult encounters have higher chance for legendary and epic upgrades. You get different upgrades. And we made a lot of upgrades by dividing them into different smaller upgrades that you can boost, and they are like the same, but you have different value, sometimes 2 values that that change. And in this case, like, we always make sure that player feel the difference between them, that if you have flow shield 1 and he take flow shield 2, he will feel that there is a difference. And if he's not feeling it, maybe you could just take those upgrades and make 2 instead of 3 and work with these values a bit. Also, we had a lot of unique upgrades, and that was the space to explore ideas that wouldn't work in the main campaign because of how crazy these upgrades were. And they were mostly made by some ideas that we had we didn't use in main game. Like, this is the recording from like 2 years ago with the hot upgrade prototype, the upgrade that slows the time when you are not moving, like in super hot game. And we could use it in the main, in the roguelike after like 2 years. And that's the upgrades that really brings excitement to player. Like player are talking about those, and just make sure to have these unique upgrades in your roguelike to just give players something to be excited about. And we had a lot of roguelike balance, but we just make sure that we have some broken builds. Like broken builds are the part of roguelike experience, and very often you can get just few upgrades to be unstoppable, but in our game you still can die by only one hit. So even if you are like really strong, you still can die very easily. But the thing is to just not balance it too much, to leave the space for players to make some broken builds and have fun out of it. Also, we've added some alternative option to get the upgrades. The arcade room with random chance for upgrade, and where you choose between 3 upgrades with different rarity but different percentage chance to be installed. And the shop, when you can exchange your HP with upgrades in the shop, and it let players get those legendary and epic upgrades very early in the production, in the roguelike run on the first or second stage. And they are also placed on the roguelike map, so you can move to them. There is like another hit to diverse the roguelike maps. Yeah, and we had a lot of UI problems in with our upgrades. The first of all, at the very end of the production, we had to make like thousands of icons, and our UI designer, our UI designer had a lot to do with that. And also, for players, it's not clear what they are looking at. Like these 2 screens, I don't know if you see the difference, but this is the arcade room with random chance for the upgrade, and this is just the upgrade screen when you selecting an upgrade. And I was watching people on Twitch, and they don't see it. Like they clicking on this panel, and the upgrade is not installed, it fails, and they think that it's a bug. So yeah, just make sure that you have enough time to tweak it and to address that UX problems. And yeah, also we were naming upgrades too late in the production. We had project names for over 1,000 upgrades, and we had that on Jira in our database, in our communication between me and the programmer, the QA, and then our narrative designer changed all those names to the proper names. And then when we had like new bugs, they all had these proper names, so we had to like translate the proper names to project names to know what is happening in our production. Like for a month, it was like terrible. So make sure you are naming it very early. For now, I would suggest to just let narrative like come up with these project names at the very beginning of the production. And about the upgrades, if you get rid of restrictions, think about unlocked design space. Like in terms of this hot upgrade, we could use that after like 2 years, because we unlocked some design space for that. Maybe it not have to be like specifically like the new game mode. Maybe just a dream sequence or something like this. Just think about it. Think what is purpose of balancing your game. Don't make sure that player have fun, and you are not a fun killer here. Get writers involved in naming things very early. And to sum up everything, in Roguerunner.exe we made 5 stages with 80 parkours, 301 arena nodes, with over 70 unique geometry, 14 final encounters, and 117 upgrades. And here is all of the things if you want to take a photo. And yeah, thank you. That's all. And yeah, if you have any question, you can ask now or catch me later.
If you have any question, please come here to the middle of the hall.
Hey, quick question. How long was the production of the roguelite mode?
It was about 6 months.
Okay, and this was like your main task then, or just additional?
Yeah, everyone in Strike team have different tasks. So for our programmer, it was like, I think 2-3 months when he was doing only that, and the other time he have like different tasks too. So yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, thank you for the talk. I want to ask about the exchange of HP for the power of the player. You mentioned that the player can purchase the upgrades with HP, and doesn't that make like a power dynamic where the player is incentivized to optimize his play to lose some HP early and get really powerful upgrade? And doesn't that make it like the obvious choice for the player?
No, because most of our players actually doesn't want upgrades that much, as the HP. So it's not that obvious for them, because they are just afraid that they will die suddenly on the next encounter. So it's like high risk, high reward thing, and I think like players actually doesn't want to use that on like the really powerful upgrades.
Okay, thank you. And can I have the follow-up? Do you have any analytics for that? Like, do you gather data if the player, how many players are actually purchasing the...
No. We don't have analytics for that. I was just watching a lot of streamers after the launch, so yeah.
Hello, great panel. So we all know that the community of the Ghostrunner is a hardcore community. So can you spill some knowledge about how the Roguerunner was received by the community, and what are the likes and dislikes in the main matter?
Yeah, sure. Like community likes Ghostrunner. Like I can see that this is the thing that they can discuss about even after the launch. So I see on the Discord that they are like discussing the different upgrades, different builds, and so on. So they still have fun with that, even like the half year after the launch. So,
and any specific dislikes? Because you mentioned about the problems with UI. So.
Oh yeah. That's still the problem. Like, they don't like UI, and sometimes they just want more. So yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so thank you again.
Thank you, Konrad.